I have a time-lapse video of a painting I did on Procreate, and it's this one right here. There's my iPad and the painting I want to share with you. It's called Coffee Prayer, and I want to show you the time-lapse and give you a little background to the painting and to the different materials I used. I didn't use very many, but I want to show you. If you have any questions, I might be able to answer. We'll put it in the the comments on the bottom here, and I'll try my best to get back to you, okay? All right, let's turn this around and show you what I got.
Okay, well there's the finished painting right there, and you can tell it's got an oil painting look. And just to re-establish that this is a digital painting and it is done on Procreate. In this particular painting I used 3 brushes. The primary brush I used was the oil paint brush, but I also used the turpentine brush and the dry brush. So the first thing I did was I laid out the silhouette of Robin. Robin is the model here, and I had taken a photograph of Robin sitting at a table at a local restaurant, and she was looking at a menu, but it also looked like she was saying a prayer, and Robin does say prayers before she eats. And I just thought, well, that's kind of a cool photo to use as a reference. And this was several years ago that I took this photo, and I was thinking about it before I did this painting, and I decided to look for it, and I found it, and so the end result is what you're looking at here. It's kind of hard to tell everything I'm doing here, but I want to point out that the silhouette was basically a super dark blue. It's not true black, it's a super dark blue. And then if you see the highlights that I'm painting into the edges of her hair, to make it pop, to give it a little more of a look of of an actual photograph, or just a light coming in from the window behind her, which you've seen already, but you'll see as I paint them in. So the silhouette of Robin is basically just dark blue, and then this very, very, very subtle brown that's showing the highlights around her bangs and the hair that was falling in front of her face. So this next part that I'm doing here is actually a separate layer, and again I use a separate layer as a way to avoid needing to do any erasing later on of what I've already established is something I like. I already established I liked the look of the silhouette. Okay, so I'm brushing in with the oil paint brush. In some cases, it's the turpentine brush. The painting idea of Robin sitting and saying a prayer before drinking coffee. The painting is called Coffee Prayer. The idea didn't happen right away. At first, I was just basically doing a painting of Robin sitting at a table. And that's why you see the red glass there, because the photo I took was in a restaurant, and it was at lunchtime, not at breakfast time. And I was coming back to sit with Robin, so there was actually 2 glasses on the table. And you can see it's one of those red plastic glasses typical of a lot of restaurants. They put cola in them, and so that's what that was. But as I started working on the painting, it occurred to me that this would be better if it was coffee. It would be better if it was morning. So that's how I decided, and you'll see that I put the coffee cup in there in just a little bit. But right now here I'm just scrubbing in all these different colors to make a background. Now also you will notice that I did enlarge the composition so that it would make a better composition. Basically, the artwork that I had already done was a good composition, and it didn't really need to be as small as it was, so I enlarged it. So The vertical and horizontal lines that are in the background there, those will represent the window that she's sitting in front of. And now I'm painting in that, I believe, is the dry brush that I'm using right there for the sky, and I'll use it also for the other things that are in the background. It's very, very loosely painted. I didn't specifically try to draw trees or cars or anything. Just the light that's coming from those things, the sky, and there's some trees in the background there too in the photograph. And so I just kind of roughed it in because I didn't need them. They weren't part of the story of this particular picture. And the story is very simple. At this point, it's a woman sitting at a table by herself, and she's saying a prayer before eating. And at this point, I still hadn't drawn in or painted in the coffee cup yet. The image on the left side, which almost looks like a Christmas tree at this point, was kind of a rough idea of just make it look like somebody is in the doorway, only to balance out the composition. I just didn't think that all that light in that area looked good, and so I wanted to add something there. It ended up looking like maybe a person walking through the door or going out through the door, and that's good. It's good when a painting somehow leaves something to the imagination of the viewer. Again, I'm not using a photograph in a way of like changing the pixels of the photo itself. I'm painting what I see in the photograph in the same way that you would paint what you see from a photograph if you were painting on canvas. The one mistake a lot of people make when they hear about a digital painting is they think somehow you took a photograph and you smudged some pixels and you made it look like a digital painting. Now, that's not to say you can't do that, and that's not to say that there's anything wrong with doing that. It's just not what I do. And I would prefer to paint. I do a lot of drawing anyway without the digital platforms, but the digital platform, in this case the Procreate on an iPad, is very convenient, and I can take it with me anywhere. And when Robin and I went on a road trip a couple of weeks ago, I had it with me, and I think I did 3 paintings during that road trip, in the hotel room and at the campsite. Yeah, pretty sure. All right, now you see what I did. I painted over the glass, the red glass, and I painted in the coffee cup. And it was a pretty simple design. Obviously, coffee cups are not that elaborate, and that's it. Just put a few brush strokes of light to make it look a little bit more, to have some depth to it and tell more of a story. At this point, it's almost done. There's a little smudge if you look at it to the left of the coffee cup. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with that. I wasn't sure if I wanted like a sugar bowl or another item of food or something, and I decided basically to get rid of it. Leave the only thing on the table as the coffee cup. You'll see that I get rid of that now. I also added a few vertical and horizontal lines that show light reflecting behind her and underneath the table, and that's how it would look if it was really there. Kind of looks like maybe it's the back of a bench that she's sitting on. Maybe she's not in a chair, but rather a bench. And it was all an effort to have a picture tell a story. And in this case, the story is a woman ready to have a cup of coffee, presumably in the morning, and she's saying a prayer before drinking her coffee. It's the whole thing. So it's not a very long story. Just an image that I thought I wanted to create when I did this painting. So there it is. There's the finished painting. It's called Coffee Prayer, and the lady is my friend Robin. So hope you like it, and thank you for watching.